bad.
Once this opens, you need to shut this page down because it will provide feedback because then it'll be playing it and it'll be broadcasting at the same time. So you can shut that one down.
Like X out of this.
Yep, you can just X out of that.
I don't need it on my computer then, I hit stuff on here.
Okay.
And then,
Yes, I haven't had a chance to.
so now if
Like-
he's gonna be sharing items from his,
Okay.
we're gonna have to make him a
Maybe
co-host.
probably late here.
So in order to do that, we're gonna go to the participants. Looks like you have 3 people on. So we want to make Kyle a co-host. So we'll go over here, click on those 3 dots.
Okay. Make host. Select that.
And then now he's running the Zoom. So if he has stuff to share,
Yeah, we gotta clean it up, yeah, so.
Okay. So now he's running Zoom stuff.
yep.
Okay.
Now to share, let's do that quick too. I'm gonna just mute this because we are live in it.
All right, it is 10 a.m. We will call the Wapaka County Traffic Safety Commission meeting to order. Roll call. Autumn, you have the in-room attendance,
Yes.
correct? On Zoom, we have Captain Benchwall. We had Captain Wilson. He is now gone. Somebody sees that pop up on the meeting here, please remind me to allow him in. The open meeting statement. This meeting and all other meetings of this commission are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the press in accordance with Wisconsin statutes, so citizens may be aware of the time, place, and agenda of this meeting. All right, I need a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion? I need a vote to approve, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, we do have one amendment to the current agenda, and that is line G, the population representative. That position was filled by Supervisor Lee Muck in April of 2024 upon Joe McClone leaving that position. All right. And then I also need a motion to approve this agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Can I get a vote to approve, signify by saying aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. We move on to public input.
I'll keep it brief.
It's just so the public input is limited to 2 minutes. Okay,
All right, I'll definitely keep on it. So I just want to say thank you to everybody on behalf of the community and traveling public that this committee represents. Wrong-way driving implements that was put in place on Highway 10. We got a lot of positive feedback, a lot of comments, a lot of thank you cards, a lot of just incredible amount of support. So thank you to County Highway, the DOT for making that pilot program happen. Sheriff Wills for sending that formal letter. I think that really was pretty much the cherry on the top to get those changes to happen. So they will, I believe we, when I say we, I mean the community, we are a firm believer that will save lives. So thank you guys.
any other public comment?
Yeah, thanks. Seriously.
All right, we'll move on to the reports section. All right, as you guys can see on the screen up here, we'll go through the numbers for the fourth quarter first. Columns are kind of cut off here. Let me see if I can get back. Show everything at once here. The first column here, the 40 is the property damage crash for October. Personal injury crash 11. The total injured persons 15. Serious injury 2. Injured minor injury 3. Possible injury 6. The important number here is again 0 fatals for October. Total of 51 crashes. November 44 property damage, 8 injury. 11 people injured in those crashes, 3 serious, 3 minor, 2 possible, again, 0 fatal, total of 52. December, 62 property damage crashes, 15 injury, 15 injured people, 0 serious injury, 9 minor, 5 possible, and the unfortunate of 1 fatal for a total of 77. That brings the total fourth quarter numbers to 146 property damage, 34 personal injury, 41 injured persons, 5 serious, 15 minor, 13 possible, and that 1 fatality for a total of 180 for the fourth quarter. We'll jump down to the yearly totals. For the 570 property damage, 153 personal injury, 220 people injured, 44 serious, 92 minor, 55 possible, and 3 fatalities for a total of 723 on the year. The fourth quarter fatal crash information was December, Beulah Road, County Highway T was a 1 vehicle versus utility pole. Speed and alcohol were factors. Unrestrained driver, unrestrained passenger was trapped in the vehicle. On the year, the fatal crashes, this is a review, was the first one was an 18-year-old white male vehicle driver. The flags included in that crash include aggressive driving, impaired. Something to note on that crash is it was negative for alcohol and drugs. We were advised that he had been drinking early. It was negative though. Speed, the teen driver flag, occupant protection, and lane departure, all contributing factors. The second crash, 38-year-old white female was a motorcycle passenger. Motorcycle driver struck a deer while driving. Driver had minor injury, no helmet for the passenger. Just a side note that occurred during our network outage. The report was actually completed by Wisconsin State Patrol. However, the crash was handled by the sheriff's office. And the final one briefly touched on 34-year-old Native American male vehicle driver, and believed to be impaired. We don't have the results back, but believed to be impaired. Occupant protection for the passenger, speed, lane departure, and the passenger had some serious injuries from that crash. Any questions on that report?
Was that last fatality a blue pickup truck by chance?
No.
I got a lot of, not a lot, but a few complaints of a blue pickup truck speeding up and down Beulah Road in the previous time.
Okay. Yeah, no, it was SUV. So. Any other questions for that report? All right, we will move on to the Casey Beyersdorf, the Highway Commissioner report.
All right, good morning. With me, I've got Greg Flora, Operations Manager. I guess just not really getting into the details too much. I heard a little whisper or talk from the Sheriff's Department that there was a situation with on-call one evening. I don't know if you guys know a lot more about what the situation is. No one sat down with me and talked to me about it, but I just wanted to bring it up as maybe there's something we should talk about on how we handled the on-call with dispatch. So that's a complaint. Please bring
be a closer now. Do you guys know anything more about it?
I do. It was basically it was a issue where they believe that the on-call may not have spent enough time looking at the road conditions type thing. So it was that we had that first ice storm. The roads were pretty bad, and the issue was remedied the next day when we had another ice storm. So
okay, so it's been resolved.
yes.
If you guys want additional meetings on that or sit down one-on-one, please do it. I think we take the time out of our day to talk about spring weight limits. We definitely should have a meeting to
Absolutely.
talk about
Yep.
the on-call procedure. So
I
if
think
we
it
can
was-
set something like that up, it'd be great.
I don't think there's anything with the procedure or anything like that. I think it was just
Okay.
the actual decision that night type thing. So,
Okay,
Perception of the road.
Yep.
Conditions is what it was.
Yeah, I think the thing just to kind of let you guys know, like our responsibility with the DOT is that a lot of these roads are only have 18-hour coverage.
Mhm.
You know, and yeah, these roads might not be very good, passable, the hours of midnight, 1, 2 in the morning. So we definitely don't like to go chase those too much because we've kind of gotten in trouble in the past where we start to chase those late at night or early in the morning, and then it snows all day and we don't have extra shifts to really try to patrol the roads when the people are out. So I do try to tell my guys to try to hold off as much as we can. Really don't like to be out between 9 and 3 unless it's Highway 10. So but I think that'd be a good thing for us to sit down and talk with dispatch, just so, and be a lot of new deputies. Just so everybody kind of knows what to expect when they're out patrolling and, you know, so.
absolutely.
other things, just a broad overview of this year coming up. We've got a bunch of construction projects. There will be a mill and resurface project that takes place on County Highway W this year from Reed Field going to the north, the cutoff road. That's where they're going to essentially mill off the pavement in the village or municipality of Reed Field and replace it, but everything from Reed Field all the way up to cutoff road will be full depth pulverized and get repaved back. So that's fortunate we got a big grant for that one. Benton Construction will be the contractor on County Highway H from Fremont to the south down to the Winnebago County line. So that's a busy tourist area. So that road is going to get ripped up and there'll be a detour that goes around County Highway H from Fremont south to Winnebago this summer. Our crews are going to be reconstructing County Highway N from T to Brash Road this summer. That's a big earth moving job. I know that Officer Thorpe and the Sheriff's Department have been working with the our farm technology days to ensure that all of the people coming to Wapaka County know that that's going on. So we're going to go through some extra meetings. Officer Thorpe's leading the charge on that with our sign crews and so forth. We've got a project continuation on Double O this year between Highway E and 110, where we're going to pulverize and repave Double O and take it all the way up to the intersection of State Highway 110, which that intersection is going to be a full reconstruct to get rid of all of the dog legs at that. So that's a big project for our crews. We're going to replace a box culvert at the intersection of Highway O and Little Creek Road. There's a narrow box culvert right where Little Creek Road goes to the west. We might even attack that one as soon as this, in the next couple of weeks. The weather is warm and I see contractors out there digging and doing stuff, and the DNR gives us the blessing right now with the Manawha Dam God and river levels only being a couple inches thick. We're going to probably attack that one here. There's going to be little to no spring runoff as of now, so could be that could be a potential road close coming up on Highway O at Little Creek Road. State projects typically Tony Kennedy talks about. And our crews right now are clearing the brush on State Highway 110 from Fremont to the south, bringing the trees up for that project. We'll also have some chip sealing jobs that take place. And we did receive some ARIP funding, which isn't supposed to go full blown public yet till the secretary gets to make the announcement. But for a week or more now, I know that we received a grant to reconstruct Highway A south. We got a $3.6 million grant, and that's a big source of revenue to our department. So very, very fortunate for that. That one won't get constructed until the year 2027. So a lot of things going on at the highway. But it also seems like if there isn't much snow, there isn't a lot going on too. We're really looking at, and I'm not saying I don't know if we're going to go down this or not, but we have 10 service agreements coming due with our townships this coming year. We're going to plow snow for them all year, but then coming into the following year, we really got to look at our level of service to these towns and if we can afford to keep 18 employees on staff to service the townships, but yet they don't hire us during the winter and give us work. And now they're all loaded onto my budget, just chewing it away on back-to-back winters when it's not so severe. So we really, really need to look at the non-statutory services that we as a highway department I have been providing and whether or not we want to cut some or not. So we have less employees, which ultimately is a big county approach, not just KC or Supervisor Markets committees and county boards. And the townships may not have our plowing services in the future because we're looking to cut some things.
Casey, how's that W project, W gonna affect the big trucks coming in?
There is three cross culvert pipes that need to get replaced amongst that whole 3.6 miles. The road's going to be open to traffic the entire time. The pipeline project is going to ship in the majority of their big pipes starting now up until this spring. So hopefully all the big truck traffic is in it. But as far as the dirt work coming out, I don't know. They're just going to have to travel on our road as it's being fixed this summer.
We were told that hopefully they wouldn't get to they get to W by July. That they would have everything pretty much to the west completed, and that's kind of when we're really hoping that part our construction project will take off after the 4th of July. So they're not counting on our new road. So
Right, I just wonder if we're gonna get any extra patrol out there for that or not.
I guess we'll see how the timelines work between their schedule and when the contractor wants to come in and do our road. Yeah.
Do we have an opportunity, Andy, with that guy at all, or?
We do not have anything currently scheduled. So maybe we can be situational if something comes.
He's a project manager, right?
Yes,
Tristan?
yes. Very helpful.
Yeah.
That pretty much lines up with what I've got here. I didn't get to say it at the last meeting, but thank you, Andy, for your years of service to the highway department.
Thank you.
Was been a good partner. I originally called him when my hair's on fire.
Right, yeah.
All right. Any other questions for Casey? All right, moving on. Becky Rickle is not in attendance. Moving on, Kathy Wagner.
Really nothing to add to your report. The alcohol for the December fatal is still pending. All I have.
Any questions for Kathy? Moving on, Kat Turner is not in attendance. Mr. Chemnitz up next.
Yeah, nice dog and pony show just sent. Sure. Allow multiple presenters.
Oh. Yeah. Go ahead. I actually have it up there. I get scared. This works for you, Tony. Let me know.
Yeah, it's that Pete.
Yeah, okay.
So. Slide. That was not at the last. Download these for a while, but I can put this slide showing, give you an overview of where DOT was last year as far as projects, what's upcoming. Talk about the highway 10 runway driving efforts. That was kind of a timing thing mostly. And then take a look at our annual crash scan. We're looking at the data set crashes. Identifying those high crash spots with potential safety upgrades. Next slide. So in 2024, we're back in county had 6 projects completed. That was over $18 million of construction dollars in the county. Roadways were spent. About 20 miles of pavement surface was placed on state roads in Patrick County, and there was a 1/3 mile street reconstruction with concrete. Next slide. Looking at the 2024 projects, got some slides there from our construction folks for you. Highway 76, it's mostly in our northeast region. It was managed out of our Green Bay office. However, there was that 1 mile section of road off of Highway 45, which is that east end of Bear Creek that was part of that project. I have 13 miles on there. I think it might have been as much as 18 miles of resurfacing. We did have some pavement issues out there, and we had to work with the contractor to get those resolved. The pavement was kind of soft, so it was sharp pushing. So we had a little bit of a pavement material issue with our people. Next slide. The other project was on 96 from 110 to Highway 45. It was a 5.5 mile pavement resurfacing project out of Fremont, Caledonia area. Is the simple project. That's the then on Highway 49 from North Street to Depot Street, 8 mile pavement resurfacing project. Back in Scandinavia, in north out of town here, they can buttoned up with a new pavement surface on there, keep that water out of that subgrade material, so extend the life of that pavement for another 6 to 10 years before we have to get something else. And of course, new pavement markings. Highway 22, the Eastwood Pack bypass from Highway 10 up to the overpass, right here where we're at. Just broke down that one. That was a simple 2 mile pavement resurfacing project in the city of Wapaka. Next one. And then Highway D was that urban street reconstruction project. Went in there, removed the entire pavement, did utility work in the city of 11 to that 1/3 mile, provided that 40-foot wide concrete street. And then I believe the last one we have in 2024 was the Highway 110 and Highway 49 area. They're all kind of connected, but there were several different wet projects down around the Fremont area. resurface that in Fremont on North of Highway 10 and then about a mile of Highway 49 from March Road to the Highway 10. Also resurface that. That's all we had in 24. Not as much stuff in highway work from our end. 2025, the big state highway project is gonna be Highway 54, west of Wataka, up by the old Chain Lake School, heading out that way. About 5 miles of pavement resurfacing. Again, you'll see them out there. They can close up to a mile at a time and flag traffic through it with flaggers. So if you are responding to calls for servicemen, be aware of that. And then Highway 110, as Casey talked about, some of his work. They're out there clearing trees. Is that the one you're clearing trees for?
Yes.
Yeah. I know Joe McCollum's been on me all the time about Highway 110, and it looks like it's finally, at least part of it's there. Highway AA up to South Junction. So that's 4 miles.
I'll get on you in the future.
You will?
Yes, because I live in Marion.
Oh, now it's gonna be Marion. Next bullet in the chamber.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So we got a few projects there, and then I believe these two, Casey already talked about the Highway H project, the Highway W project, those were state led, because of the funding source. Moving on, I think the next one's the wrong way driving effort. Like I said, this is really a timing thing. I was unable to attend that last meeting, unfortunately. I didn't care to call anything. And I have talked to Justin, and I talked to the folks here at the Sheriff's Department about it as well. Kyle and I and an engineer from Iowa presented on wrong way driving in the state of Wisconsin. The issue had been starting to elevate and really the crash got more sideways. It was unfortunate that that happened, but those types of things will start to raise these issues forefront. From my standpoint as North Central Region engineer, I was aware of wrong way driving is becoming an issue and a safety issue as opposed to my just spot analysis that I normally do back in 14. Acton County Sheriff officers talking about running dogs, wrong driving habits. So we started to track it in 2017 in our region. But then it became more of a statewide issue. But I was already kind of on perspective as a safety engineer. And after we had that meeting in August, the DOT actually formed a formal task force. It's myself and several other people from State Patrol on there. Our signing and marking folks are on there. Obviously, they have to be brought in to change the signing and marking standards. The state of Wisconsin, we did use some of the information from the state of Iowa. We've also been looking at other studies that have been done. I know Florida had a wrong way driving crash. They actually did a national highway safety research project on mitigation efforts there. So we're pulling all that information together with this committee to take a look at what can be done to provide better warning to drivers, even impaired drivers who typically this is going to be going the wrong way, getting them more information and signing out there. That's what we have standpoint we can do to let them know, hey, you're going the wrong way. So that's bulleted up there, working with other state agencies, looking at other reports. We did get an approved pilot project. Sheriff sent a letter to us, worked back and forth with you guys to make sure that came in. So I had another, I guess, bullet in the chamber to send to the committee and say, we would like to get going on this and we'd like to start it with Patrick County. And I got them to bite on it. And we did 6 intersections, starting that Little River Road area and then proceed to the north and to the west there. Highway 10 has an entire corridor. It looks like it's going, we've got approval now on Madison to buy the rest of the signs and do all the intersections all over Marshall. So I'm very happy to say that we've got that. It's something, like I said, I've been kind of personally following this myself as a safety engineer. Aware of it. So it's good to see it. And then time will tell as far as how are these changes going to impact this issue. We are also looking at blink lane systems. These are the first things that were done down in the Milwaukee area where we have ramps and on ramp and off ramp, entrance or exit from a highway next to each other. A lot of wrong way drivers on there. Blink is basically a sensor activated warning system with LED lights around the wrong way that enter signs. They want to put 10 more of those in the state, and I identified Highway J and 10 as a potential location for us, but that's all. You'll see some of those. So we're making efforts, taking steps forward. We always take little steps. One direction. Next slide. This is just a graphic of that detail I got from Iowa DOT. This is pretty much what we used at that intersection on a little bit of those other 6. And a picture of the highway guys putting the signs up. We increased the size of the signs, with type 4 signs, with a higher reflectivity. And it's red strips on the post. You change the keep right sign from a diachromatic sign. It looks like the head of a polo with an arrow that goes around it. People don't really know what that is. But we put the words keep right with an arrow now. That's what Iowa was doing. It's a little clearer. So we're going to try that. Like I said, the reflective strips on the post. We stopped short of doing the pavement marking arrows that are shown on there. And the lane tracking lines, they call them cat tracks, I guess. Taking that traffic from the side road onto the expressway. It's a special pavement marking, a lot of resistance from our pavement marking folks on that because of the cost involved. But I kind of wanted to float out there as well. It's on the detail. If we try the signs first and we have continual issues, this would give us a next step. So it kind of gives us that stepped approach that we want. So that's where that is. And then the next slide. Looking at the crash spot review, about this time of the year, we always take a look at the 5-year crash data set. It always kind of lags, obviously, because it has to go to Madison, get processed intersections compared to other intersections. Take lives. I did the rain in. Usually do about 40 of the top crash spots. I've got another engineer, so I'm doing a little more than that, about 53. I'm doing this time. The ones that came back up in Wapaka County have been there before. Highway 10 westbound ramp in Fulton Street, where we put that signal in back in 14 or 17. That's what I have pictured up there. A lot of crashes, still angle crashes, disregarding traffic control, and it looks like people coming under Highway 10 heading into Wapaka, towards the culverts, all that stuff, and the shopping center, are getting T-boned or T-boned people coming off the ramp. So I'll work with our signal engineer to see if there's any additional enhancements. Maybe we can put striping around the back plates on the signal heads to get those more visible. And I'll stop out and take a look at it. See if it's anything obvious. I'm not holding out a lot of hope because it's a new signal. So it's signal head per lane. It's the latest design standard, which is intended to address these. Sometimes you gotta go back and see something else. Next slide. Highway 10 and Anderson Road. This has been on and off of my top crash spot list over the years. I understand you guys have had meetings after the crashes here. It looks to me like now via time it's been on this list on 18 to 22 data, now 19 to 23 data as a top crash spot. Taking a look at possibly closing that bead and making it a right in, right out. From that perspective, you would still be able to get emergency services in there if there's a fire or response for somebody with a heart attack, medical response, things like that. But their return trip would have to be a little spotted. So I think there's some validity there at this point in time to take a look at closing that. That would allow us to continue that thriving all the way through as well. That we have for these. Next slide. And this one is probably going to drop off my list. I only had 3 crashes. It was kind of at the bottom of my top crash spot list, 45 and TT. TT is typically used as an emergency alternate route when we have crashes on 45. But it looks like when I pulled the crashes for this meeting, the first one says swerve to avoid here. So that one goes out the window. That's only going to lead 2 crashes. It's probably going to fall away. So 2 crashes in a rural intersection is not unexpected. I think I might have one more slide. Just if there's any other business that the commission has, they'd like to bring it for the Department of Transportation, our engineering side of it, oversee design, construction, operational maintenance, well, the state US highways and Wapaka County, which shows up there. And the last slide is my time. I'm living in Wausau again. Was looking out Oneida County for a while, then moved back to Wausau, so County
shipping south, but I keep holding on to a happy call.
All right, any questions for Tony? All right, next would be population representative, Mr. Muck.
Just taking over for Joel. Oh, I made too bad. 110 is from Marion. And I've been on the board 10 years. Jim Flink was on it 35 years. He told me at least 20 years ago that 40 or 110 was gonna get fixed someday. And the state wanted to give it to the county back then at 15 million bucks. It's 20 years later. I'm still hitting the same potholes as I did then, and I hit them this morning again, you know, I'm not. But it,
On the road.
but it's, you know, it's, hopefully you can move that up someday and get it on your gun down. I mean,
I'll pass along.
yeah, but it's from Marion to 22 by North Manawa there. It is terrible. And then there's a hill just south of Marion there. There's an Amish right over on the opposite side of the hill there. I'm in a buggy and luckily it was coming to town, but sooner or later someone's gonna hit one of them buggies and they come out of the driveway that's blinded there. The school bus used to stop there. I mean, it's dangerous. So I'll leave 110 alone, but the other two is 7th Street and Main Street in Marion where the Shell station is there. I almost lost my brother on 7th Street the other day, and it was his own fault. But he pulled out on 7th Street there at 45. At 7th Street and 45, yeah.
I know, I'm just
Yeah,
full of crashes on that.
Yeah, and there was a young lady that, there was 2 of them this summer that she pulled out from somebody that might pretty good.
Yeah, that had a crash issue until like 21.
Yeah.
And it popped up and then it went down. And then all of a sudden it popped up again, and it popped up again. So
Yeah,
I measured the intersection site distance some time ago and that's standard. See over about, it's gonna quarter of a mile.
it is,
So is it
No,
the 8
it's-
pillars and the cars or what, you know? it's hard to know what.
because both of them, you have to turn your car just slightly.
So it's the angle.
Correct, yeah. Both of the angles there are terrible, especially the one by the Shell station. Because that one, it was real bad there. But, the one on 7th Street there, my brother he had a passenger, she said, go. And he did check to see what, one decided they were going right, one decided they were going across. So it was his own fault, but it was a situation, but yes. But you fixed me 110 and I'll be very happy. I only got 2 more years
I just
though,
come
so
here
that'd
to
be,
report, I'm not charging one.
Have you ever driven on it?
Oh, yeah. There's like that field store in Canyon.
Yeah, where the big,
yeah.
And that's where the Amish live.
Right, are there Amish buggy signs?
There's a bus sign there, but not
Yeah, I
a.
don't think there's a bike sign.
Maybe we should get some buggy signs up there,
Yeah,
that's something
yeah.
on my field.
I tell the joke, but Casey hit me, but I won't see that.
Maybe after the
But yes, sir. One of my local, Casey, one of the locals was picking on me one day, you're a good friend of mine, he said, I hear they're putting a bypass or an extra lane there because the county, the Amish can't get around the county trucks going up the hill. I might not be between readings.
You're still pretty young, yeah.
Yeah, but it is, if they do fix it, we're gonna have to fix that situation somehow too.
Yeah, I think that was all part of the negotiations back with Dean when he was commissioner.
Yeah.
All part, it's all.
Yeah, like I say, I've been on there 10 years and keep saying it's not done.
Let me inquire, find out. I don't know where it sits right now, the planning folks.
Okay,
So I'm
so
working on Highway 110 anyway, it's started.
Yeah.
any questions for Mr. Muck? All right, moving on. Todd Rasmussen.
All right, quarterly informational slide from Bots. It's also several year-end numbers. So the numbers are from December 29th, trying to get the year-end state fatal numbers. Don't have the state's official numbers that probably won't come out for a little bit yet, but just checking, recently, community maps. 2024 fatal numbers for the state, 495 crashes with 560 fatalities. Compared to the 23 numbers of 512 crashes and 563 fatalities. So essentially the same numbers from 23 to 24. We always want a percentage to go down. That really doesn't qualify for that. Wapaka County fatals for 2024, 3 fatals in the 3 crashes compared to 3 crashes in 23. However, 6 fatalities, mainly the wrong way on 10 is the difference there. Overall, Wapaka County crash totals 2024, 789 crashes to 3 fatalities, 202 injured, compared to 772, 6 fatalities and 213 injured, 23. So the numbers are pretty much the same from one year to another. Fourth quarter numbers, the 1 fatality on Bulow Road that the sheriff's office went over. And this is some information from it, everything that Kyle already gave. Location. The one thing different I have is I did look for a 5+ year history at this intersection, this location, what you see in the shaded box. And the only crash I found in that location was the fatality. So I don't think we can say that design or anything of the intersection is a problem. Doesn't show with past crashes. Any questions with that before I skip to a different point? So now these graphs show, this is for the fourth quarter in Wapaka County for the crashes compared to the 3-year average. For example, all crashes, 153, that's down 16% from the 3-year average of 183. So the numbers are on the left, the percent change is on the right box. For example, fatals went from 2 to 1 for the quarter, and that's a 50% decrease from the 3-year average. Obviously, these numbers, all these numbers, we want to decrease. The bottom 2 boxes are driver behavior from aggressive to 65 driver, teen, speed, impairment. All your numbers show a decrease, which is a good thing. Distracted, 50% decrease, aggressive, 57% decrease. Same time frame, just more information. Pedestrians, motorcycle, commercial motor vehicle. Pedestrians are up 50%. I know it shows 1 to 1, but it's they average it over 3 years, why it's an increase. Work zone crashes in that time had 0, down 100%. Some counties that I do that are on 41, that number is skyrocketed higher. The construction they ran this year compared to the 3-year average. So for the most part, numbers for fourth quarter Wapaka County going to decrease. Any questions on the comparable? So DOSI, or driver oriented screening for cognitive impairment. This is a tool designed by the University of California, San Diego, to help law enforcement screen drivers that may have not an impairment, a cognitive issue about they're not able safely to drive a vehicle. It's a roadside screening tool for law enforcement once drugs and alcohol have been eliminated. Obviously, you go through that information first. You do, law enforcement does their checks, and if that's not it, and you know they're not driving fine, you can bring out, you've got cards, or there's an app, which I'll show you in a little bit. So this was developed in California, pretty much for California's DMV. But this Wisconsin DMV says we can use this tool. There might be links to take you to something in California. Obviously, we won't use those in Wisconsin, but we can use the information gathered and their wording for your reports in Wisconsin. So DMV, Wisconsin DMV supports the tool. It gives you words, sentences to articulate why you're doing the cognitive test or requesting the review, we can't use the scoring. Now I'll explain the scoring. There's training video. There's a 10-minute video on how to use the card and the app. I'll save you 10 minutes. So that is the DOSI, or you search for treads. That's the icon for the app. And everything's anonymous. You don't put in names. The officer stays anonymous. Nothing saved on your phone. Each officer does not have to have their own login. That is a general login, admin@law.gov, and law screen is passed. So everybody would use that. And the bottom part of that is the summary of the results. So essentially the questions are, you want to use this app is, what is your date of birth, address, where are you now? What's the date, month, day, year, what time? Essentially, them are the questions they use. And from that, if you have 5+ incorrect, it's a priority that review needs to be done on this person's driving. It'll show you a summary showing the questions that were missed. And then that bottom actions taken, that it's just for data gathering by the developers of the app to know where they're at. Again, nothing is saved on the phone, but you can use the questions and say this person didn't know where they were, didn't know where they were. That can be used in a narrative of a report. But you don't use, they had a score of 5, a score of 6. DMV doesn't support the scoring of that yet. But that can be downloaded for free and put on smartphones, or you can use that card that I have in front of me. Any questions on that app?
How's it being done now? Just an office.
Yes. So this is just another tool, if somebody wants to use it or an agency wants to use it, it's free to use. And to get through the questions probably takes, for the officer to say the questions, about 60 seconds. Community Mass virtual office hours are still doing this the second Monday of every month. If you want to log in, free to do so, and they go over certain topics, or if you have questions you want to be asked that you want asked, you can, it's a good place to do it. Use the link or the QR code. Kyle or Andy, this one's primarily for you. It's the Traffic Safety Commission Toolkit in Community Maps on the TSC resources. There's a toolkit that you can click on. It'll take you to linkable links to take it to exactly the part you want. You don't have to read the whole thing. It's a lot better than that 50-year-old pamphlet I left you with.
1971.
Yeah,
Maybe that, I should explain it so the chiefs that are on. Right, that do the training.
No, that's for the commission.
this is how to run a commission. If you have questions, I will go back though.
Yep.
So in this picture, right next to the TSC resources, training and help, there are training videos that the state has put out there to help officers. I know one's writing a narrative, what certain flags are on accident reports, etc. They're small videos. I ask you how, if you put that out there yet.
To our FTO program.
Okay. 'Cause I gotta report back how. And they're gonna add more videos, as long as they see that it's being used. If it shows that it's being used by a lot of officers, or like anybody on the commission would go here, this is how to use community maps, it's like a 2-hour video. But they like to see people using it, they'll look out more. So this is a teen driving, a safe roads challenge partnered with TripScore is the app. Again, the state is putting this out there and they want people to sign up and use it. They'll support it as long as it's being used. Essentially what this is, it's trying to get teens or anybody who wants to use it to drive safely. And as you drive safely, you win awards. I mean, they're Starbucks gift cards and not just a little star on the app, but you can win physical things. They need people to sign up for it. More the merrier. So we're trying to put this out there to everyone. You can do it up in teams, like if a driving school has or a class wants to be a team, you can do it as teams. Essentially to make the road safer. Contact is Randy Wiesinger at the bottom. And that is the Trip Score app that, people that want to take part in it can download. Have these little pamphlets and everything. for people. There's a lot more to it than I just said, but that would be the app. Drug recognition or DRE training for law enforcement, got 2 classes this year, one in the spring, one in the fall. Spring, you gotta have signed up before the 21st of February, and the fall one is before July. And that's funded by grants, except for backfill and shift. No legislative updates. Early, but if you want to get it on your calendar. Governor's Conference, Highway Safety, August 19th and the 20th. And the business meeting is the day before on the 18th of dinner. Set that on your calendar.
Be off.
It's August.
I'm off all summer.
I'll go. And that's at the Kalahari. This is just a state's contact for the law enforcement liaison, my position with 4 other of us. And then the 2 on the state, one in the northern section, probably didn't have his name on there in the last meeting, McAllister Crow. He's new to the northern section, would be Waupaca County's regional program manager, or the grant guy is what I call it. And that's from Fond du Lac North essentially. That's his. If you have any questions about grants, you can contact him. If you don't get a hold of him or have questions, get a hold of me too, and I'll find an answer. That's all I got.
Any additional questions for Todd?
And, one for the kids, teenagers. Push that out through the schools or, no, that's fine, but I mean, I think schools, if you can get it into the school
I'll
program,
have to
I mean,
check.
driver's education is fine, because but then the whole school would,
I'll have to check with the lead on that Randy.
Yeah.
They're doing some things statewide, like on that.
yeah,
They're trying to get us more locally, so I don't know what they've done with schools.
because
So,
driving, you're only getting one-on-one, where if you go to the whole school, you can get them from when they get their license till they're senior, but it would be a little more push on that end of it.
Great.
Okay,
I actually tried it to see how I scored.
yeah.
I did a high 92, but I won't tell you what my low was.
Wait till you're 81, it'll go lower.
Well, people started honking their horns at me on the 60s, like a lot of intersections, what does it mean? It's like, no, I'm really not that bad.
Yeah.
All right, moving on, Mr. Morak is not present. Sheriff Wills.
Tony, I just want to thank you again for expediting the signage to prevent wrong way drivers and the contingency plans that you have in place. I understand that time will tell because impaired drivers, we don't see anything. Andy had previously been in a low speed chase on a wrong way driver, and that person passed how many wrong way signs?
Went all the way from County U all the way to the one side of Waiwega, so
They passed
7
all.
whole sets.
And I understand we can't control everything, we wish we could. You know, as I get the reports on Mondays for the wrong way drivers, I see a number of even fatalities in Outagamie County. I mean, it's statewide.
It is.
Even when I was a young patrolman, I think Steve Levy was my sheriff for the way, I think it was Steve Levy. We had wrong way drivers on two lane roads. I mean, it's impossible, and typically they were impaired. Or elderly.
And that's, I mean, the poster child for that is elderly, they all reshoots the.
So I just wanna really appreciate.
So I'm really happy we were able to get something going. I think that's gonna help. So I could push it to the new committee in Madison. The new committees want to do something.
Right.
So they gave us an hour saying, hey, this is where the 4 kids died. Let's do it here. And then we're hopefully pushing into Portage County. And we're trying to figure out, the costs associated with all of that. Because for us, it's a cost.
Right.
extra signs, they're, county guys, they're always charging us. They don't do it free, so we gotta figure out. Sure.
We feel your pain. But no, it's a good program for Pack County and we're appreciative of it.
Yeah, we're hoping we can push it up to 29 because there are horrible crashes. Push up.
How many intersections? Is it 6?
It's 6. So 3 months wide.
I think we actually did them all, we did more than 6, I think we got more signs actually.
Yeah, Al said we did it
From Al,
around
so,
or.
I believe there are more than 6 done, I think Old County is done the same way now.
No, there's,
Sunset curve to the line.
no,
Not.
You didn't do that.
no, there's
additional
there's more
ones.
coming, hopefully in
Yeah.
February is what I was told.
Okay,
So, but yeah, those 6 are complete. There's
okay,
some of the west of Wapaka, the signage was different to begin with.
yep,
So those ones are actually on the inside lane.
that's what.
That's what you're probably
Yeah.
referring to.
Yeah.
So,
And you can see the standard change, because when I drove up here, I was looking at Highway 29 and Highway 53, and you could see that it was different. It was based on the time it was installed, what the standard was at the time. But hopefully now with the detail we have in Iowa, we're pretty much adopting. We'll double up those signs, make them bigger. And I mean, all you can do is impaired drivers look down and know that. If you put the red strip on there, is that gonna help guide their eye, at least on this, the turn at night when they swing and the headlights flash across? That's our whole, that gets more. If they're out of that point, like say, all signs.
How is Iowa done for runway drivers with their technology? Signage?
He was a very interesting character.
Yeah.
Quite a dynamic guy. And he actually got him like $1.5 million. He worked for central office. And he did a lot of stuff with the Ram side by side, but he puts cameras up there that actually give him a warning when somebody does go the wrong way. So he was able to get pretty much instant feedback when he made these changes and could try different things. And then he was able to find out, well, this worked and this didn't work. So that's kind of just using his research camera. Well, if that's working, well, it'll work here too.
So it's work for impaired drivers?
Yeah, it helps. I mean, they reduced in crashes. The numbers like percent of the crashes less than 85% of the events. Something like that.
a large part of his technology that was geared towards the ramp
Towards
situation.
the ramps, yeah,
So-
he's more like area side by side ramps.
So
So
they
for
don't-
us, that's Milwaukee.
So they don't have a lot of cross traffic. We have that grade road.
They have some accurate roads in northwestern Iowa County, or in the northwestern Iowa. That's kind of where I got it. He still is getting positive results.
Cause you know, we've had a number of fatals as well, where them pulling through the medians where the people can do their U-turns. Down in Fremont area and whatever, so.
So they're doing illegal use.
Couple of them where they came off of, I think. Not you, motorcycle that. I said, elderly gentleman that pulled out from there to turn on the gun. But again, it's elderly. Didn't even really realize what happened. But thanks a lot. I need you. I want, if you need any
That's
more.
my job, that's why I come to the. So
If you have more letters, nope, just no.
I will absolutely, I appreciate you stepping forward to take care of it.
Casey Quick is probably gonna meeting together every year before snowfall, so we can inform our officers. The newer officers really don't know. They think they have a bad road and immediately stop thinking, don't tell me, oh.
Yeah.
Once we know what you told us about the hours. and-
Yeah. We got a lot of winter left, I mean, if you want to sit down in the next couple of weeks, we certainly can.
The state gives us the standards, so ours aren't here, and then they hit the next county and the ice, so that's why we're in connection with that counties, as well, driven by the state.
Even if you guys got a minute afterwards.
Yeah, definitely.
Because once the officers see that they're spinning around, I mean, that's what we did, we called.
Right, and our guys complain too, because it's like, when now you called me in, it's so late, our guys are not time getting to the shops, at that time, but it's hard to fight storms when it's really cold in the middle of the night too, so, but yeah, let's talk about it after.
That's it. Thank you.
All right, any other questions for the sheriff? All right, moving on, not last, but his last. The master of disaster. Andy Carlin, thank you for your years of service to Wapaka County. You got anything for us? Maybe you
I
want to?
don't, I could introduce, Zach, Zach's my replacement. Zach Dennis.
So it's always open.
All right, again, thank you. Enjoy retirement.
Oh, he will. I think. Forever.
Any questions for Andy? Moving on, State Patrol Sergeant Pedersen is being covered by Trooper Coleman. Anything to report? Any questions for Trooper?
Yeah. I'll tell John.
What's your PowerPoint?
Put together a working PowerPoint.
Actually, State Patrol did a PowerPoint yesterday and received.
Big shoes to fill for me.
And usually that, as the highway department, we are going to take it to the highway committee for permission to spring weight limit post our roads again, so. You ever need to know where our scales are, you're welcome to come see our shops. Be familiar with that, and where to weigh people.
Has, Inspector Lindbergh get contact with you guys regarding that?
I always typically deal with the sheriff's department with deputies on that.
Okay. I'll just let you know. She's on her own program.
We have, I want to add that we have a great relationship with State Patrol and really, it's important to work together. We have since I've been here. Back, really remember, State Patrol, so thank you for helping us.
Oh, thank you, sir. Trying to keep the thing going, coming from Allegheny and Winnebago. It got dicey at times, so coming over here, it's quite refreshing. It's very good. Awesome. Thank you.
All right, moving on. Kevin Will is being represented by Sturtle.
Yep.
Anything for
I
the-
got nothing.
Any questions for Mr. Ertl? All right, moving on. Sergeant Curtis.
Not much. We did start our 2025 grants, both seatbelt and OWI grant are started. We actually have a seatbelt grant and OWI grant running today. And then in the spring, we'll start our speed grant per usual. So all three safety grants we are participating in this year.
Any questions for Sergeant Curtis?
How many of the city officers?
Waiwega Police Department, Wapaka Police Department, Manawa Police Department, and Marion Police Department. I think it's everybody. And New London,
Not Clintonville.
not Clintonville, not Iowa.
Any other questions for Sergeant Curtis? All right, moving on, Lieutenant Thorpe.
Only thing I have is, as we've seen with a lot of the other reports here, everything is data driven when it comes to funding, when it comes to allocation of resources. And one of the things we recognize as administration at the sheriff's office is some of the data being reported to the state on wrong way driving is inconsistent statewide. So recognizing that, we've made the decision that I'm applying to be on the state's forms and advisory committee through tracks and the state patrol in order to push for mandatory wrong way on a divided highway reporting through our track citation and report program, so that all law enforcement in the state of Wisconsin is required to follow a standardized format so that we can get better data to give DOT and the folks like Tony the ability to make the decisions on what areas of the problem is. That is all I have.
Any questions for Lieutenant Thorpe? All right, moving on, Captain Josh Wilson, New London PD.
Nothing to report, New London.
Any questions for Captain Wilson? Moving on, Chief Craig Freitag, Clintonville Police Department.
We have nothing up here in Clintonville.
Any questions for Chief Frute? Moving on, Chief Leshke, Wyoming Police Department.
We keep beating the dead horse about wrong way driving, but I do want to appreciate the ambitions that we put forth. My department is largely involved in a lot of those complaints. To piggyback on Lieutenant Thorpe, we had a meeting at my agency and my staff. We believe that there is largely underreporting going on. So I know Sheriff's Office implemented the form in Stillman. My department, we went from 9 mandatory reporting questions to 30 to collect data. And then we load that into a Google data form that creates, so we can see kind of a real life image of what is actually going on with our data, what's never happening with another last night.
Yeah, last night or tonight too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's still occurring, with the extra data that we collect, and hopefully the mandatory reporting that, well, speak volumes, and you're gonna you can take information.
Well, and Danny, from my perspective, Steve, I was just looking at intersections at a T-bone. So then all of a sudden, the deputy works like, you guys ever look at this and look, you know about it. So it's like, it was an awareness thing. And I remember my big aha moment was when I looked at, God, in our region, there's 246 reported wrong way driving. It's getting close to 1 a day. It's just like, and when you drive the town, when you drive to Appleton downtown, you ever think of it? People don't think of that. So there's a huge awareness.
So hopefully the data collection will help.
Absolutely. I think you'll see a significant change in standards, and it's really then going to work with our administration to allocate funding to change the standard sign. Which of course means we have to spend more money to find it. That's always the hard part.
Well, budget was like $1.2 billion.
Maybe, I don't know. But my father-in-law told me no money until there is, so.
I think that's a different Tony that's in charge of that money. That's all I have.
All right, any questions for Chief Leshke? Moving on, Chief Jason Severson, Manawha Police, not in attendance. With that, I need a motion for adjournment. So moved. We are adjourned.
One way that came out of Knoxville, someone else.
Yeah.